Now I'm started recording and I will have to explain from starting. Oh, Aditya also came, so only one person has to come. Where am I? So here, okay, okay. Here I'm going to try to explain. Uh, so how to install a Hyper-V in Windows server, and there is a different type of networks are there. Virtual networks. These are not physical networks. These also virtual networks are there. Virtual networks in a Hyper-V. There is a name called a private network. Okay. So internal. Actually, it is network means here we call that as a switch. Okay, they call that one as a switch. Switch means where you connect, right? Normally, in a physical switch, you connect a system to switch. Those people who are connected to that switch, they will communicate each other, right? So like this one only, private, internal, and external. So what are the differences are there? The next one is a virtual hard disk. Virtual disks are there, different type of disk. Okay, so virtual hard disk or virtual disk. VHD, VHDX. We have to say dot VHD, dot VHDX is there. What is fixed disk is there, dynamically expand disk is there, differential disk is there, and checkpoints are there also. So we'll see that one. So when you create a virtual machine, so then it is showing like generation one, generation one support BIOS version or BIOS type of operating systems, MBR type of hard disk it will support. Okay, disk virtual disk only anyway. Next, 32-bit it support, 32-bit of OS it supports, 64-bit of OS supports, Windows operating system, Linux and Unix operating systems and so on. Different operating system also it will support. Okay, floppy disk possible, like you want to load a OS with a floppy disk is possible. Okay, and a CD DVD type of way of installing operating system is support, and network installation. Network based installation also it will support. Okay, this is a voice installation. Next one is a generation 2. Next one is a generation 2. So what is a generation 2? Support UEFI. Okay, it means what it is? It means GPT means GPT type of voice, and it support only 64-bit. And important is it support only Windows operating system. Windows voice only. Only it support Windows. Okay, it will only support operating system only. So here, what are the Windows operating system support? That is also we require, right? So what kind of Windows? Not all Windows operating system. Okay? The condition is the Windows operating system should support UEFI and GPT, and it should be 64-bit. That only it will support. It won't support again 32-bit also. Only 64-bit UEFI only it will support. So you can say Windows 8. So it will support Windows 8, 8.1. Usually 8.1 it will support actually. Not even 8. 8 also won't support properly. It is there. So it's Windows 8 support UEFI. That's why given. Practically it won't support. I use 8 or 8.1. 8.1 I used in a Hyper-V. So when I use a Hyper-V. 2012 server. 2012 R2. Okay. 2016. 2019. Okay. And specifically Hyper-V. Hyper-V. So Nano server. Okay, so nano servers only available in um server 2016 and 2019 only, not earlier positions. Okay, nano servers actually run on, okay, run on or run in anything. Understand? In a Hyper-V only, it won't run on anywhere. So what is a nano server? That's why read the first PPT of a server's first PPT. Anybody have an idea what is a nano server, server core? No idea? But still no idea. Okay. Okay, in a Windows 2008 server. Okay, so 2003 is a very light version, and 2008 is a heavy version of operating system. And when 2008 is introduced, that time lot of demand increases in Linux based operating system also, because of Linux is a very lightweight operating system, so you can use GUI mode and mainly CLI mode only. Management is quite easy, light version, less hardware footprint. So they introduce two versions of operating system. One is a full version. So one is a desktop edition type. It's called a full version. It's called a full. Another is server core. What is this server core? Server core don't have GUI, no GUI. Okay, so we have to manage server core with the CMD only. So only CMD should work. CMD, and the next is a PowerShell. If you know PowerShell, then you can use the PowerShell there. Okay, CMD and PowerShell. Okay, next in a Windows 2012. Okay, so same thing, desktop edition, server core, same thing is there, but they have a one feature, that is you can convert core to GUI mode, and GUI to core mode also. So that is a beautiful feature in this one. So this is, you can convert it, but that is removed in a 2016. So in 2016, again three editions, again same thing, like a desktop edition, actually desktop experience, because we can say desktop edition, desktop experience edition. Okay. So like um, so sorry, one second. No new one is right. So okay, so Windows 2016 um, desktop experience. This is like experience is there, experience and core both are there. Actually, you should not say. Even that time, experience name is not there. Experience. Spelling is correct or not? RIEN experience. Desktop experience correct. Okay, so it means nothing but a full, or we can say it is GUI. Okay, it is nothing but a full version, or we can say GUI version. Okay, so here same thing. Here I have written already. This is enough. But we cannot convert back like a 2012. It's a fixed one. So mostly we have to manage with the commands. Okay. CMDs we have to use it. Commands. Okay. PowerShell, mainly PowerShell. Okay. Of course, remote server manager is also there. Remotely we can able to manage using a desktop experience server manager. So we can manage that one. So we have to manage with okay. So in it is there in inside. Server manager, remote server manager is there. Okay, so remote administrative tools are there. Okay, uh, so CMD, PowerShell, and sconfig is this is a one direct command. That is, if you put sconfig, you will get to it. Okay. Next, they are also introduce nano server. So, what is a nano server? Nano server is nothing but a virtual machine only. Okay, it is nothing but a virtual machine only runs in Hyper-V environment only. It won't run on anywhere. Okay? So it runs. It's a virtual machine. Nano server is not a physical machine. You can't install into anywhere, but you can install it only in Hyper-V. We using PowerShell commands only. Okay, manage with server manager, remote server manager, or a PowerShell only. I can able to manage. Even you can't run much. No GUI. Completely GUI gone. Okay, not much with CMDs also. CMD is also not great. Okay, it's a server that it runs the server. Only basic interface is there. Okay, nano servers usually basic interface to see. Okay, no CMDs also. No CMD, no PowerShell, nothing. You have to manage remotely. Okay, you have to manage with a um, remote server manager. Okay, or you can use remote PowerShell only. Means your main PC PowerShell only. So you can't access also. Advantage is actually what is the advantage of server core? Server core fully managed with CMDs. It means no desktop. Okay, like this, you can't see the desktop. Okay, this one you can able to see. Okay, like this one. Normally, how you see at a server, you can't see at that server. So that is core. Like you are getting this much screen, a server manager and everything, but in a server core, we are not getting. So understand, guys. If GUI is there, it means more hardware required, right? If GUI is there, more hardware is required. No GUI, it means less hardware requirement. So compared to the GUI, no GUI, less hardware requirement. For example, I need a 4 GB RAM to run the server. Now I need a 2 GB RAM to run the server. Okay. So how much RAM is required? It is for that one 512 MB RAM is enough minimum. Okay, 512 RAM is enough to run. Okay, to minimum. Okay. Um, but here we require 2 GB compulsory minimum 2 GB. Otherwise you can't install also. Basically, okay, 2 GB RAM is required compulsory. Okay, this is a question, right? So how much CPU requirement and RAM requirement like that? Okay. Next, Okay, and in a nano server, so first of all, in a server core, in a server core, am I audible? My voice is not getting much. Yes, can you able to hear,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
good. Okay, okay. In a server core, I went to server core part, but okay, so just I will cover it and I will come back. Okay, in a server core, important in a server core is like no GUI. It means less RAM is required. Okay, very less RAM is required in a server core, and you manage with the CMD, PowerShell, S1 command, and you can join into the domain. You can create a domain controller. You can create a records, but not all services won't support. But few services won't support in server core, but maximum it supports in a server core. Okay, you can become a domain controller. You can become a additional domain controller or ODC also. In 2008 I worked with a server core. Because it's a textbook practicals are there, so I showed from 2012 onwards. People are not interested in a commanding prompt, and we don't have that. We have a lot of things to do in a lot of syllabus is there. So I stopped it. Now I'm not at all touching. So only thing is, if anybody accidentally install server core only, I will do it. Okay. So no GI means less hardware footprint. So what is the advantage of that one? Windows is basically secured one. You don't need to create a high security. It's a basically secured one. And you remove the GUI means working on a command lines, the CLI prompt. It is difficult, and that to PowerShell again you have to learn new things. Difficult to crack. Okay, but people who are trained are people who where we put a server core also, like where we cannot able to offer a um, uh, heavy server kind of stuff like a branch offices. Put a branch office one server core, and you can create additional domain controller, so then you can control it remotely also using remote server managers. There is a tools also there. I unable to recollect it. Okay, so that is RMS or DMS something is there. Remote server manager is there. Actually, remote server manager only. Okay, RSM tool something is okay. So remotely using PowerShell, we can able to manage it. Okay. Next is a nano server. Nano server is a very less services purpose only. Of course, there is no GUI. Normal CMDs also won't work here. Okay, you can see nano server. Type in Google and how screen will be there. Images you can see, and it is runs on virtual machine because you are having a Windows servers that having a that already had a Hyper-V. Okay, so your server having Hyper-V anyway, so you can run multiple nano servers because nano servers will take very less hardware footprint. Both disk also means the where it is installing the disk space consumption is very less compared to desktop experience addition to server core. Disk utilization is less compared to server core to nano server. Disk utilization is very less. Understand the utilization of hard disk utilization less, CPU utilization is less, and RAM utilization is very less in a nano server. Okay, so then you can install a specific services in nano server, and we can manage with your server manager, core server manager. You can able to manage it remote PowerShells. You can connect it and we can manage. We can install the services. We can make it as a member of a domain. We can't make it as a domain control, but we can make that one as a member of the domain, and you can install a particular services like a web services, kind of file services, storage services. Okay, storage services. Okay. Like managing iSCSI, file services, FSRM type of services. So certain the list of services are there. Nano server, so we can use in a nano server. So we can limit it. Okay. So these are the different editions introduced in 2016. So Windows 2008 onwards, we have this one like this. Of course, 2016 has one more feature called a nested virtualization and host guard. Okay, host gardening, nested virtualization. Few features are there. A few more features are there in 2016. So that's a read the first PPT. So features of 2016 for 2008 and 12. So you will get that one features of 2016. Try this one. Don't ignore. Okay. So this is about your Hyper-V. So Hyper-V, and I told about generation because I'm telling these generations, right? So that's why I told about nano servers also. Okay. So nano server runs on a Hyper-V, and nano server installation is not also image, not with your DVD. Okay, so using your PowerShell commands only we can do it. It's quite easy to do it. I done 2 3 times, but not now. Okay, now also I can do it, but we need again typing commands, PowerShell commands, copy paste. Again, I have to read the material. Okay, so this is it about this one. First of all, updates available. Get update, and no need to do update. Guys, when you see what is this is a shutdown event tracker. Okay, so you can type something here. Okay, because when you shut down your server, and compulsory it will ask because of server is should not shut down. Server always run 24/7. It is asking to install these things, but I don't want. Okay, so this is my server. Um, no. I'm going to here. My magnifier is a better one. So physical PC magnifier is better one. Okay, actually, I want to show you the how to install a. I want to show you how to install a hypervisor, Hyper-V in a server in a next part. But because it will take us time to restart, so then better I will install now and wait for restart. It will take little bit time, guys. Only one question, please. Anybody tell me how to install a role? Either it is Active Directory, DACP, DNS. Okay, so there in that list only Hyper-V is there. So now tell me step by step how to install a role.
Go to manage.
Okay, yeah, very good. So first, open the server manager, of course. Uh, very good. So first is a manage. Next,
Add role and fixtures.
very good, very good. That's the spirit. Sunday spirit. Next, next, and select the service.
Hyper-V.
Okay. Add features. And you can read this description also. Next. No need to do anything from here. Next. So it is asking for virtual switches. Here, if you check this one, if you check this one, this actional switch will be created automatically. I will create manually. I will create manually. So I'm not checking that one. Migration is yellow. There is a migration thing. I didn't tell in a theory part. Okay, migration is allowed. Okay, I use a Kerberos protocol. Okay, these are the default locations of our virtual machines and virtual hard disk. Okay, so no problem. Later we'll see that one. Next, restart compulsory in for Hyper-V because Hyper-V restart automatically. Click install. It will take time to install and as well as um, restarting purpose also. Okay, so we discuss about virtualization, and in a virtualization I told the virtualized one, either it is application virtualization or maybe a virtual machine related things. Okay, it is not binding to your physical machine. It use a physical machine resources, but it won't bind to your physical machine. That is the virtualization, right? Okay, so in the case like in a Hyper-V we have one more feature is there like that. Okay, so we have a live migration. I type something but I will type here. So okay, so here what is the live migration? You can read this one. Okay, refers to process of moving running virtual machine or application between physical machines without disconnecting the client or application. Memory storage network connectivity of virtual machine are transferred from original guest machine to destination. This is called a live migration. Very good. Easily it is given. So, so home. So if anyone came, very good. Salman came. Yeah, it is restarting, guys. It restart automatically because the check mark is there, so it restarts. Okay, Salman, you missed. Okay, so live migration means what? When you transfer. Okay, you okay. Better I will explain with the paintbrush. Okay, so this is my one Hyper-V machine. It contains Hyper-V. This is another Hyper-V machine. Okay, both are having a Hyper-V only. Both are having a hardware. So I'll write directly hardware. Okay, anyway, our Hyper-V is a not application based, right? It is directly start with your hardware. Okay, here I created a virtual machine. Machine name is like V1. Okay, now I have another virtual machine. Okay, I have a virtual machine V1. So for something is happened to my PC or maybe I needed some maintenance and all, I can migrate this virtual machine from one physical machine to another physical machine. I can migrate this virtual machine to another virtual machine. It's like a move. Cut, copy, paste is there, no? Like move means It will cut here, paste here automatically. Okay. So when it is migrating, how it is migrate? Is to migrate through either through network or through central storage. Central storage. So actually machine store in a central storage and it is migrating from here to there. Okay, very simple that is actually. Mm. Okay, so the machine is transferring from one physical machine to another physical machine. For example, this is server 1 and this is server 2. So I'm migrating from here to there. For example, uh, while it is migrating, this virtual machine is in on condition only. Okay, on condition only. For example, in this virtual machine, I have a web server. I have a web server is there. Okay, I have a web server, and I'm accessing web server from client. Client open the page, web page. Client open the web page. This web page is opened in a client. Now something has happened. I'm migrating from my uh, S1 to S2. S1 to S2. I'm migrating my virtual machine. The client never feels something is happened. Like remote server is down. I can't access the page, right? Remote server is down. I can't access the service. Remote server is down. I can't able to access the service. This is service only, right? So what service? It's a web service is there. So if this is down and I can't able to access it, but here I don't feel something happened there. So my page is open. I can able to work on it. I can able to work on my web server or web page. I can able to access. So client feel nothing. So client don't get any downtime. Client don't get any downtime. So I can migrate from here to there. 1 second, guys. Thing. Where am I? So this is a called a live migration. And one more is there that is called a cold migration. What is a cold migration? This is live migration, right? So one more is called a cold migration. In a oh, why it is taking so much time? It's my PC problem or again internet problem? So what is a cold migration? Sri? Cold migration is a migration of powered off or suspended virtual machine between host and cluster data center and vCenter instance. Very simple it is. What it is? Cold migration. Okay. So what is the cold migration? So you have to migrate a virtual machine from one place to one physical machine to another physical machine. But you cannot able to migrate when it is live. So you powered off and you migrated it. Simple. For example, you have a virtual machine in your PC. You like VMware virtual PC is there, right? So you want to migrate it to someone. For example, um, one of your friend came. He asked like, "I want your virtual machine. I want your virtual machine." What you have to do? You shut down the virtual machine and copy the virtual machine to him. You give a virtual machine to him using a pen drive or external hard disk. Understand? You copy your virtual machine to a pen drive or virtual hard disk. So then he will copy to his PC and he will start the virtual machine. So you turn off the machine and you given to you are put it into a external device and again he copy it to his PC and start using. So this is called a cold migration. In Hyper-V, in Hyper-V, directly cold migration option won't be there. So for a cold migration, for cold migration. So there is something missing here. Yeah. For cold migration, we call this one as a import and export. You have to export the virtual machine and import the virtual machine. Means you want to give it to another virtual machine, another physical machine. Sorry, you have a virtual machine. You want to give it to another physical machine. Then you have to export it. Other import it. So you have to export it. Other place they will import it, and also you can maintain two copies of it. You can maintain a two copies of, like, you can run the same machine, they will run the same machine also. But before you do some, you have to do few things. But this is the live migration, and cold migration is also there. And one more is there, that is called a geo replication. So I will show you this. Geo replication is also possible, and active geo replications is also possible. Here, if anywhere it is just a geo replication, okay, it is nothing showing. Okay, okay, you can read it. Okay, it replicate into the geo part. Okay, so where it is. So what is a geo replication? Means you are running a virtual machine. Now it is a possible that anything happens in this environment. Anything happens in this environment, like earthquakes, floods, tsunami, hudud. This kind of big things will happen in a geographical area base. Okay, geographical. Before last time because of corona, people are not coming outside and the rain is heavy, but no problem. Okay, and 2008, if you remember, in a Kolhapur itself, Kolhapur, right? It is near to Pune. Kolhapur, there is a floods. People are use boats with military support, right? So there are transfer all the people because of lot of floods, water, heavy rain is there in 2018 there. Okay, so like that, Hyderabad, Chennai. So floods like a geographical effect. So it may cause your data center damage, physical damage occur. Earthquakes we can't predict, right? Earthquake we can't predict. So what you will do, you have to store your data in a different geographical area. There is a story, but no one knows the truth. But um, actually, Hyderabad become IT hub. Uh, of course, there are a lot of places earlier started, like a Chennai is a one of the place. Okay, but Hyderabad become a IT hub. There is a story there. There is a company, like the company IBM. IBM company need a geo replicated data. Means IBM company is there in America, but what they do, they have a huge amount of data, so they want to put it in data center storage, backup, location purpose. So they need a maintenance. So they search globally. They search globally about where is a suitable place to put their data center. They found Hyderabad is a better one because this is not heavily crowded that time. Okay, not heavily crowded. Only one place is crowded, but not other places are not much crowded. Like currently, what Madhapur is there, Cyberabad. Okay, okay. So they find that place. Just I'm telling story. Just sit back and relax. Okay. So that time Rajiv Gandhi is there as a prime minister. So they contact directly prime minister. They came. They said like we came from IBM organization. We found there is a place called Hyderabad, which is very good for our data center. So please provide some suggestions and all. So Rajiv Gandhi is also a technical guy, so he called the chief minister, who is chief minister that time in that time in Andhra Pradesh. So he called that person and said, they said this is the your place is better place. So better to take this chance. So maybe next time, because one company came, then maybe other companies also will come to Hyderabad. It is maybe in future it can be a big IT hub. So that time they invest money on IBM company. So we didn't invest on IBM. IBM company came up and we provided a land and building place, electricity. So they pay for us for putting. Later on days, Chandrababu Naidu came and start better. IT is in a good in market, so better we push more in IT related things only, IT related stuff only. So later it is slowly it is started, but when 94 time, almost 94, 94, 95 time, IT started more migration is there. So automatically a lot of buildings, and he build that cyber towers. It's a government building. Cyber towers is a government building. Okay, you want to put a company, then put it in a cyber company like that. It is, even though last time there is a Sandy Tufan is there, and America got some Sandy Tufan something. They lost lot of data in a US based companies. They took the restore. They restore it from Hyderabad Gandipet area. There is some companies are there in Gandipet area also. There is some companies. They restore the data from Gandipet area, that data centers. That is a geographical thing. So geo replication thing. So data, keep the data in a different geographical areas. Put some data in China data center. Put some data in a US data center. Azure, AWS is become more famous than any others because they have a lot of geographical places. They have a data centers, so they will keep the data into different geographical area, so then data loss is very less. So Hyper-V directly support a geo replications if you configure, if you have any remote place. Okay, so that is a geographical replication. Okay, that's not only that, there is a few more are there, but in the meantime, so this is restarted. Okay, so log into server. So we installed successful. Let it come. It will take little bit time. And actually, if you want to install a Hyper-V into your physical machine, then uh, compulsory. Sorry, you want to install Hyper-V in a server, that is also again virtual machine. You have to follow certain rules. Okay, it is successful. If in case, if you got error here, so there may be while you are creating virtual machine, you didn't done a settings. Okay, so if you don't unable to do this one also, no problem, just observe what I'm going to show you, that one. Okay, so that is completed Hyper-V. Now this is a Hyper-V, and how to open, so anything usually here only. So Hyper-V manager, so you want to see, go to tools, you can find Hyper-V manager. So click on the Hyper-V manager, you'll open. This is a Hyper-V manager. If you get Hyper-V manager and bottom it is showing compulsory server, because using Hyper-V manager we can manage lot of other computer management also. Browse, advanced, find now. This is a Win C1, so you can see Win C1. Okay, okay. Okay, maybe we'll see. Nothing, just try to refresh. It is not coming. Maybe they are not communicating each other. Actually, you got some error. WinRM cannot complete the operation. Verify the specified compute name is valid. Computer is accessible over network and firewall exception for the VMware. Okay, yeah, we have to create all these things, then only it will work. So whenever you got error, you should read it and understand it. But I will show you that one also. These are options to create a new virtual machine or hard disk or floppy disk. Import virtual machine means if someone is exported, you can import it. This is Hyper-V settings. This is switch manager, SAN manager, edit virtual disk, inspect, stop service, remove service, refresh. These are the things. If you go to the settings, and it is also show settings here. So this will tell you where by default where you want to put your virtual hard disk. So you can change the place also. If you don't want to put it in a users public documents, you can put a virtual hard disk in separate place by default. Program data, you want to put a Hyper-V files here in this location, you can put it, otherwise change the default setting. Physical GPU, if you have a physical GPU and you want to utilize that one, you can add it also, no problem. This is a NUMA, is a non-uniform memory architecture. This is spanning related one. This is a live migration. So at a time, by default, two at a time, two live migrations you can able to do it at a time. Two live migrations you can able to do it, and to any network or a specific IP address to whom you want to migrate. Okay, enable both incoming and outgoing combinedly. Two means either two sending, two receiving, one sending, one receiving, like that only you have to do. Okay, you have to specify the user, specify the IP address to what is the to and fro accepted a live migration to send or a receive or any available network, so anything available. Okay, storage migration, so your hard disk, how you send that one, that is storage migration. Enhanced session mode policy. Okay, so allows enhanced session mode. This is okay. This session mode allow redirect local devices resources from computer running virtual machine connection. Okay, so there are a lot of things are there. Usually, actually, an allow enhanced mode means it will enhance your virtual machine internal things to your physical machine. Okay, so you run an application in virtual machine, same thing you can see from your physical machine is also there. So don't change any settings. You can see this is a geo replication, replicated to where. So you have to give all authentication, storage, and everything. Okay, keyboard integration thing. Combination is all tab here. Okay. Okay, control alt left arrow for releasing mouse. Enhanced mode session. There is a two enhanced mode policies. This is policy allow, and this is if it is allowed, then it is use. Reset checkboxes. Like you change anything, you want to change it back to the previous thing, reset. So these are the settings in your Hyper-V. Okay. Other things are there means virtual machine generation settings and hard disk types. Okay, and next one is virtual switch manager. Okay, I will show you these things after a break. Okay, so this is it about your Hyper-V, and remaining the parts I will